Pro Bowlers Tour on ESPN is being brought to you by Faball, home of hammer bowling balls and accessories, available at the finest pro shops everywhere. By the good times, great taste of McDonald's. And by True Value Hardware. For quality, selection, and personal attention, make True Value Hardware your store of first choice. Now let's preview tonight's top 5 finalists, starting from the number 5 position. It's 21-year-old Stacy Rider of La Habra, California. Her opponent in the opening test is 23-time champion Lisa Wagner, looking for her second straight victory. Beginning from the middle of the stack this evening, it's 22-year-old Leanne Barrett, shooting for her 3rd title here in 1989. Qualifying in the runner-up position here this evening, it's 10-time champion Nikki Gianulias, while 27-year-old Aleta Sill, who averaged .222 for 42 games this week, will need to win just 1 game in order to collect $7,000 and her 16th career championship. And welcome to beautiful Country Club Lanes in Baltimore, Maryland for the championship round finals of the $40,000 Hammer Eastern Open. Hi, everyone. I'm Denny Schreiner, and welcome to Baltimore, Maryland. And of the top 4 contestants on the telecast this evening, they have already accrued 55 national titles. So a very talented crew tonight. Leila Wagner working with me once again, finished a solid 15th this week. And Leila, the interesting note about the top 5 here this evening is the fact that all 5 qualified in the top 24 a year ago.
Well, Denny, that's really not unusual. Certain bowling centers have certain characteristics that the players really look forward to coming to the next year. They get enthusiastic about it. They have confidence coming into the center, and that's what happened here in this particular center.
When you take a look at the top seed position on the Pro Tour, you have to win when you get the opportunity to lead an event, and no player has done a better job of that on the LPBT Tour than our top seed this evening, Aleta Sill. She is 8 of 14 from the top seed position, and why has she fared so well?
Well, that is very unusual. Normally, it's 30% that the players win from that top seed position. Aleta is well over 60%. I had an opportunity to speak with her earlier this evening. She mentioned that, hey, there's just not much pressure on me from that number 1 position. I can't finish any lower than 2nd, and I can concentrate better on a 1-game match versus coming up through the field.
She had to bottle that and sell it to the rest of the tour, because that's what you have to do, win from the top seed position. Let's talk now about Lisa Wagner. She won a week ago, and of course 3 other times in her illustrious career she has won back-to-back championships. Can she do it again tonight?
Well, if any player can do it, it is Lisa Wagner. However, she's got 3 very talented players to go through this evening in order to do it. I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
And if you haven't yet had the opportunity to watch Stacy Rider perform, a young player from the West Coast, you're in for a very special treat. She's a very aggressive player, throws plenty of strikes, and she's got her eyes set right now on Lisa Wagner. Of course, that's her first opponent in match number 1 here from Country Club Lanes in Baltimore, Maryland. We'll be right back with the LPBT on ESPN. They're already putting their hands together here for the ladies in the championship round final of the $40,000 Hammer Eastern Open. Stacy Rider on your right, Lisa Wagner to the left, and Stacy opens up the championship round by starting on the left-hand lane. The championship pair this week, 25 and 26.
Well, you really hit the nail on the head when you mentioned this player as an aggressive player, because that's just exactly what she is, Denny.
Right out of the gate, throws a strike. Obviously, too, has the biggest smile on the tour when she strikes.
She's really a fun player, likes to have a good time, goes out there, and I think half the time what knocks down the pins is that aggressiveness and the fun that she's having.
Really enjoys herself. She's got her hands full this evening, taking on a Hall of Famer in Lisa Wagner. Lisa winning last week, going with a little harder equipment, tries to keep it in the track and in the pocket, and she ends up with a split in the opening frame.
I think we're going to see a little bit of a ball speed problem here with Lisa, Denny. She was having a little problem with the approaches earlier. In order to get her ball speed, she does use the whole approach. She's having problems where her feet are sliding out from under her. So if she can't get that ball speed, as you can see there, the results, the ball hooking a little too much.
Sure, it changes your entire game when you can't get the traction.
Here we can take a look. Now, when she pushes away in that 5th, with the 5-step approach, her 2nd foot actually goes out from under her. She has a nice game here. You can see the top of her positioning in her wrist. She gets through, knee bend, but she's hesitant, and she's not able to keep that speed up.
Of course, when you're uncertain about the footing, obviously, it does create some problems for you mentally. So She'll have to just kind of grind it out, gets this one out of the lane a little further and leaves the soft 7-pin. So right now, Lisa Wagner not only fighting the approaches, but also a talented right-hander from La Habra, California.
As you can see there, she's wiping off her shoe.
I watched her during the practice session. She started with the normal pair of shoes, the sliding shoe that she used throughout the week, and just took that off and tossed it into the bag and brought out another one. So many of the professionals utilize more than one pair of shoes as they travel across the country.
Oh, they do, and we do hit synthetic conditions 3 or 4 times in a year, and they seem to really uphold the condition nicely. However, the approaches have a tendency to be somewhat of a problem, whether it be slippery or sticky, in almost every synthetic center that we go to. So it's just something that the girls overcome with changing shoes.
And many of the problems created by the humidity based on what the weather. And of course, we've had dramatic changes here in the Baltimore area over the last couple of weeks, going for the double as Rider and doesn't get it, but that has a lot to do with the approaches.
Exactly. The humidity is such a big factor in the Florida areas. You see it even more so. Up here, we've had a lot of humidity, and that's exactly one of the reasons.
Well, for those of you who are watching Stacy Rider for the first time here this evening, we know what her talent is already this week. She's in match play defeated Aleta Sill, Nikki Gianulias, Leanne Barrett, and Lisa Wagner. You don't beat those 4 unless you make good shots. And I'm going to have to eat my words there because she blows the 4-pin.
A little, I'm not sure if it's nerves. She says she feels a little bit of butterflies this evening. Now, Stacy doesn't have a lot of knee band. Now, this is the second ball. As you can see, her missing the 4-pin. The ball actually just breaks away at the last minute. Oh, just by an eyelash.
Not by much. So she'll have to bounce back. Aggressive shot, and she strikes. But against a player of Lisa Wagner's caliber, let's see if the mental mistake comes back to haunt her. This is a 1-pin match. Lisa averaging 221 for the week, averaged 221 on the television pair. Scores were moderate to high on lanes 25 and 26. Better speed, but this one goes past the pocket, and another split opens up here in the 3rd.
The conditioning we used this week, Denny, 33 feet of oil, a little bit of heavier oil in the center of the lane, actually crowned out to the outside part of the lane. So if the players miss their target inside, we actually see the ball skate a little too long. It doesn't make it back. If you hit the dry area a little quick, it hooks early.
Big break early, gives it a run. Oh, what a shot for Lisa Wagner, who spares it up in the 3rd.
I think she surprised herself by her reaction here, but just a superb attempt at this, and more so attempt to pick up. Watch the 2-pin just right off the wall. And you can see her taking a little bit more easy than normally with Lisa's footwork. She's usually just up there firing away, and you'd see where that was really tentative.
Now it's got to throw your timing off a little, but she makes the necessary adjustment. Comes back with a strike in the 4th. So Lisa Wagner, the great competitor that she is, bounces back from adversity. She trails by 2, but she's on a strike as Stacy appears to be having a wonderful time here at Country Club Lanes. We'll be back with more right after these messages.
Accidents happen in a showroom. People buy the wrong car. They want a car as quick as a Saab. As a rule.
And of course, our ESPN television survey this week, a viewer profile. We're very anxious to find out just what types of folks are watching the LPBT Tour on ESPN. And so we have a number of different questions that we'd like to ask this week. You can see them on the screen. Perhaps first and foremost, when did you start bowling? And when does your spouse bowl? And there's the number, 1-900-446-ESPN. And every 50th caller, of course, will be receiving that 10th anniversary poster. It's 95 cents per minute. And we'll give you the results next week. We'll get a real good feel for what types of folks are watching the Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour on ESPN.
Stacy Rider looking for a double.
A little soft 10 provided that time, and after missing the 4-pin in the 2nd, a double there would have cured that problem.
Well, actually, a good adjustment off the 4-pin, the soft 10 or the half 10, trying to delay the entry of the ball into the pocket just a little bit. Usually when the ball leaves the 4-pin, it's hitting a little too high. In this case, it just didn't break enough.
Went to the polished equipment to try and throw the ball a little straighter, and it's still hooked. So Stacy, when she strikes, is fine. The 9-pin spares are providing her with problems here this evening.
Now, the players, once again, have had a little bit of a problem going for the 10 pins and sticking. Here it looks like she really pulled the ball, and it just didn't slide enough, hooked away from the 10.
Well, we mentioned she does throw lots of strikes, and if she continues to miss the spare, she's going to have to beat Lisa Wagner. This has been her good lane. One more time, 3 for 3 on the left-hand lane.
Glad you said that about her good lane. She was saying that that's why she felt so comfortable in the mixed doubles event. She only had to bowl on one lane.
That's right. She finished 3rd in that Gold Rush doubles with her partner Mike Tucker just 3 weeks ago on ESPN. Highest finish singles-wise this year was 6th in South Bend. Looking for the double, and excellent shot, and leaves the solid 10.
The 6-pin just ringing around the 10-pin that time, Denny.
Amazing about this young lady. This is her 100th match game on national television, her 64th. I think that's 60th appearance.
A lot of television time.
Get a tan with that much time. Well, she sticks a little bit as well, and safe, Lisa Wagner says. I'll take the 10-pin spare. She leads by 10 at the midway stage here. Of course, next in line, talented Leanne Barrett. Nikki Gianulias qualifies number 2. And our top seed this week, 27-year-old Aleta Sill from Dearborn, Michigan.
Well, Lisa Wagner has always liked bowling here at Country Club Lane. She finished 2nd last year, lost to Jeannie Maiden in the title match. 201 to Jeannie's 223, so she is the only one of our top 5 finalists who did make the television show last year.
Qualified in the number 3 position and won a couple of matches. Leaves the solid 4 there.
This is her release on that shot. She was able to stay down pretty well there at the line. Now she's like, oh no. I think she realized that ball was going to hook a little high.
Well, for a player like Lisa, she's used to generating velocity too, and now that she has to slow the approach down, the ball speed's going to change.
And you have to be able to adjust your line for that.
And your equipment. Stacy had some brand new equipment drilled up this afternoon in preparation for the television finals here this evening. Said she wanted a ball that hooked a little more. Let's see if this one does.
Finally carrying all 10, catches the double there and puts her up by 1 pin. A very crucial strike right there in the 6th frame by Stacy Rider.
Well, you don't go 21-3 and tie an LPBT record in match play unless you've thrown some clutch shots throughout the week. The amazing thing is, you look at the numbers for these two ladies. Lisa Wagner out-averaged Stacy Rider by 7 pins a game.
Well, we've mentioned it many times before, Denny, that those 30 pins that are given for each match game won, now the players bowl 24 match games, just add up to so many pins. And in this case, Stacy with 21 matches, it really got her to the show, she said. But I told her, you had to throw the ball.
It's amazing how those close matches, though, she won a number of them throughout the match play portion. That went through the nose, though, barely escaped leaving the baby split.
I think this was a exact shot of what she was talking about to me. What she does, she gets a little over-aggressive, really pulled that ball over target.
And she'll smile now because that's the first spare that she's made here in the championship round. We'll be back with more in the opening match from Country Club Lanes right after this. Really trying to put the hammer down here this week and capture the Hammer Eastern Open, $7,000 for first, and there you see the rest of the prize money on down the line. Beautiful plaque there.
A beautiful plaque, and Hammer's such a great sponsor of the women's tour over the years. Dennis Baldwin having the beautiful country club lanes here. Just a gorgeous center in the Baltimore area.
They've done a marvelous job. And of course, the chairman of the board, Earl Widman, coming back from that hip surgery down south in Daytona. We want to say hello to Earl and wish him a speedy recovery. And as tough a guy as he is, he'll be back and at him here in no time flat. But he has had some problem with some reconstructive hip surgery. We all wish him well and hope that he's back on his feet here in no time.
Have a shot at Lisa's last ball right here. Almost didn't get up to the head pin, but she got away with it, leaving only the 2 pin.
Well, the right-hand lane has been the mystery thus far, really, for both players. We've had only one double in this match. That came in the 6th frame, provided by Stacy Rider. And you see a 1-pin match. Had Stacy made both of those 1-pin spares, right now she'd be 23, 24 pins ahead. So you just can't afford to give away those 1-pin spares.
No, you can't. Not any time in the tournament. You really want to stay tough in your spare shooting from the first game of qualifying all the way through the television show.
Lisa Wagner, who finished high up in this tournament a year ago, trying to come back and win match number 1. Solid shot on lane 25. So he does pick up a strike in the 8th.
A lot more ball speed that time, Denny. That ball actually held the line. A lot more velocity when it hit the pins.
Shot. Will she carry the 10? No, she's had the soft 10 a couple of times on the right-hand lane. Right-hand lane looks maybe a little tighter, huh, Leanne?
Yes, it appears to be that way. Lisa's come up light a couple times. Stacy with the 2 soft 10s.
And for those of you who haven't yet noticed it, my partner's suffering with a bit of the virus and the cold, and hasn't felt too well the last couple of days, and she's trying to hang tough here this evening.
Had a great couple days, Denny.
Oh boy, yeah, you finished 15th, but that had to be a struggle. When you don't feel well, it's tough to compete. So, but she's taking next week off, going to get a little rest, and she'll of course be off bowling, but she'll be there for the telecast in Hammond, Indiana next week. So a spare again now up in the 8th, and this one's tightened up considerably now as we head into the latter stages.
And a big smile from Stacy after she picked up that 10-pin, and a great big applause.
Now, of course, Lisa with the advantage, she could shoot 214 if she takes it off the sheet. If Stacy strikes out, it's 204. This is a key shot for Stacy Rider here in the 9th. Made a good one and ends up with the 4 pin. So Lisa Wagner, normally when she gets a chance to put the vice grip on you, takes advantage. We'll have to wait and see what she comes up with in the 9th.
A real good professional shot there by Stacy. She has to be happy with that shot. Ball just breaking a little hard, leaving that darn old 4 pin, as I'd like to say.
Well, I think Stacy basically only missed the pocket on 1 shot. So when she threw through the nose.
Actually, that was a very key shot, too. She was on a double, and had she struck there, would have kept it going.
Yeah,
so
she broke down the baby split in the 7th and ended up with just the 3 pin. Lisa takes a good look at the scoreboard, realizes if she strikes right here, she's well on her way to advancing into game number 2. This has been the tough lane. That was about as good a shot as you could throw, and you see now she's made the necessary adjustment.
Well, Lisa, last time leaving that 2 pin, she made the adjustment. Low angle there, actually falling off balance after she threw it. At least it got off her hand good, and frozen rope.
Ball comes by like an Indy 500 race car. Did you notice that?
Well, that's their hobby, so.
Beautiful camera work that time. Good look at the strike shot. Now, will she give this enough room? 9 count. But with a spare here and a strike, she can do no worse than tie.
Stacy closing her eyes, knowing that she still has an opportunity to continue, and is talking to herself a little bit.
Yeah, if Lisa spares and strikes, she shoots 193, and if Stacy strikes out, she'll shoot the same. things have happened. Right now, Stacy's hoping for any kind of an opportunity. If Lisa doesn't strike, now she can step up in the 10th and win.
And knowing that Lisa could have walked up and shut her out, I'm sure Stacy's at least happy with the opportunity to still stay in this.
Well, fortunate, I would say, to end up with 9. So 3 strikes, and Stacy Rider is a winner. 2 and 9, and we'll go to sudden death. I guess you have to take it 1 shot at a time, though, right?
You do. In lane 26, she's left 2 soft 10s in her last 2 attempts, so see if she overcomes those.
She's a player that likes the opportunity to challenge herself, and right now she's presented with that scenario. Really ripped the finger holes out of that shot.
Perfect shot, perfect shot. And that's the aggressiveness right there that we talked about earlier on in the match. And I liked the look on her face after she threw it. A lot of loft, a lot of fingers and revolutions on this ball. It hit the pocket, and all 10 were gone. Now, the reaction is what I really liked.
Growling at him a little bit. Needs 1 more to get to the 10. Oh, my. What a beautiful display of clutch bowling. And Lisa can do nothing now but hope for a 9 count. Every player, I think, dreams of striking out to win on television.
You bet. And Stacy right now just trying to calm herself down, says, hey, don't get too aggressive. I've done that before, too. Just take it easy and do just what she did the last 2 shots.
Well, that one's left of target through the nose, and so Stacy, disappointed, has given the fans something to ooh and ah about, and Lisa Wagner will advance by the skin of her teeth, 192 to 190 here in Baltimore, Maryland. Coming up, Lisa Wagner will try Leanne Barrett on for size, the talented right-hander from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Art Beatty, and no relation to Warren, I'm told, the general manager here at Country Club Lanes, the big fella, good guy, handing over the plaque and the $2,000 first place check to the Pro-Am winner, Cindy Ray. A marvelous Pro-Am, better than 800 entries here this week, bowling with the ladies on the Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour. So fun for one and all, and now it's back to serious business as of sorts. Leanne Barrett with 7. That's right, 7 titles already in just 3 years as a professional is next in line for Lisa Wagner. Leanne finishing up on her practice shots here on the championship round pair of 25 and 26. And without question, this young lady has a superstar written all over her as she wraps up practice shots here on the championship pair. And now it's Lisa and Leanne. The winner, of course, to take on Nikki Gianulias. Aleta Sill remains the top seed here this week. After a clutch 192 to 190 victory over Stacy Rider in game number 1, Lisa starts on lane 25 here in match number 2.
I think Lisa's getting more and more comfortable with the pair and the approaches. Danny, that ball had a lot of ball speed on it, hooking a little high on her.
Leaves the 3-6-10.
Lisa Wagner, 28 years of age.
Asked her if her husband Kent was here this week, and she said, nah, he's down south playing with the race cars. He'll be out next week. Of course, he'll be cranking it up and getting ready to head out on the PBA Fall Tour within the next 3 weeks. As Lisa disposes of the 3-6-10.
And you mentioned superstar, Denny. This lady definitely has it all written all over her, because the attitude, the mental game that Leanne Barrett has is just so strong besides her physical game. Her physical release and her bowling ball is unbelievable.
Accurate and with great power. And that's a nice combination to have, and leaves the solid 4-pin here in the first.
Here you can see her stance. She starts off actually facing to the right, a 5-step approach, starting the ball very low. Look at the knee bend here. Great follow through.
Tremendous extension, really has an ability to get the ball down the lane. And I tell you, when it goes, it's rolling too. Not spinning, it's rolling.
Leanne finds that when she has problems is if she doesn't have that area to the right, because she is very open, and she doesn't have any area to the right. We saw a little bit earlier this year in Delaware that you had to play very tight. Leanne was unable really to do that, so she likes a condition where she can go right with the ball.
You mentioned open, of course. We're talking about her shoulders being a little open at the line, and basically her hips as well, to try and create a little shot to the right, as they say.
She likes to cross boards.
And she does it pretty well, too. Leaves another solid 4, so.
Well, consistency is what it is, Denny, and we've seen her many times on television just come up and strike after strike after strike and really string them on television and throughout the tournament. And I think that's, you know, a big key. She shot 300 earlier this week, and if you can do that consistently, that's what makes you a great player.
Yeah, she shot the first 300 here this week, and as a matter of fact, if you look back history-wise, she shot the first 300 in this bowling center last year during this tournament. So she's a lady of first, you might say. A couple of spare ups on the 4 pins, and Lisa Wagner goes to work now in the second.
And Lisa Wagner's progress through game 1. She is now up on lane 26.
There you can see the thumb went down quickly there, and she pulled that shot. She's still, I think, struggling a bit on the right-hand lane.
I think so. She is not getting the reaction that she wants to see. Ball going light or high, nothing in between.
Almost seems like she does not want to trust it right because she's afraid it's not going to come back, so she's kind of fitting the ball a little bit. And when you get into that situation, it's just not turning over or rolling. You don't create any area at all for yourself. Lisa with 23 career titles. Of course, the first woman ever to surpass the $100,000 mark in a single season.
Just having a superb year last year. Now this year she doesn't feel as well, yet she's over the $40,000 mark, $50,000 mark after last week's win. So, you know, we mentioned it that it's too bad if that's a bad year for her. That's a great year for some players.
When you go for 105 the year before and you're like 56 with 6 tournaments left, you kind of feel like you're behind schedule. But overall, with her career earnings of $359,319, she of course tops the LPBT list in that department.
In the running for Bowler of the Decade, along with Aleta, Sill, and Lori Nichols. We'll have to wait and see the results of
That's right.
that voting.
Sure. One of the key questions being raised by our new magazine format show, Bowling World, which will debut next Monday, October 2nd on ESPN, beginning at 3:30 Eastern Time. And we'll be asking the fans to vote on the male and female bowler of the 80s. Interesting look at some of the top personnel on the LPBT and PDA Tour. A strike in the third for Leanne Barrett.
Leanne Barrett with a few wrist problems earlier this year in the fall, or in the spring, and also the summer. She was having some tendonitis problems. I think she's overcome that with a little bit of the break in the summer. Looking for the double.
Gave it plenty of room, and it comes charging back. So Leanne Barrett grabs the lead here in game number 2 of the $40,000 Hammer Eastern Open. We'll be back with more after this. And while we were away in the 4th frame, Lisa Wagner left the 2-4-5 and spared it up. Leanne Barrett right now in the lead in game number 2.
Well, on lane 26, she did get up, trusted it, and left a bucket. So we had seen her before trying to fit the ball, and she gave it the room, and it didn't come back.
Now the key is maybe she might change equipment on the right-hand lane. We'll have to wait and see. A little more speed, accurate shot, and she leaves the half 10 on lane 25. And you can see she's fighting the approaches.
Yeah, she's not real happy with her release and getting out of the ball, and so much of that depends on footwork with a woman bowler, whereas a man can actually overpower the ball. Women rely on their footwork in order to get their ball speed, and some players that have a longer slide, a longer approach, this affects more than other players.
Kind of drops it in there and spares up the 10 pin. I mentioned Leanne, just 22 years of age, basically grew up on the West Coast. I was kidding a little earlier today about some of the other very talented young players out there. I said, boy, you know, this Linda Norrie's an excellent player, and so is Kim Terrell. She made the show last week, and she winked, and she said, you know, I bowled with those girls in junior league all the way up until I was about 15, so I'm very familiar with their talent. X marks the spot in the 5th, and Barrett right now is cranking it up.
Chance to look at Leanne's style from behind, as you can see how her arm swing actually wraps around her body. It's left and then to the right. That's where you can see that open shoulder and open to her target.
Almost the old figure 8 look. Remember Billy Whaley used to throw it that way? Several of the older players used to wrap it a little bit as long as you got it back to the right spot. Strikes again. She's got 4 in a row, and if she's got a little area to the right, that's normally when Leanne is most effective, and obviously she has that here tonight.
Did you notice the figure 8, Denny, though, when you went, you would go in and then go out and come back in. Leanne's reversed. An S-curve, but reversed.
But if you watch it at the very bottom of the swing, it's dead square when she gets to the line.
And that's the key.
Yeah. If you look at Scott Devers on the men's tour, same thing happens with him. And this square swing is about as good as you can get for Lisa Wagner. It's mocking the slippery approaches a little bit.
Well, knowing she can't get the velocity here, you can just see the amount of revolutions on her ball. Now, this is Lisa's backswing. Look how straight it is, just straight up and straight back.
And I think that's why she probably is the best player going right now. Got to be the most accurate. She combines power with accuracy.
Not getting into too much trouble on various conditions. She's able to stay in play, and that's why Lori Nichols, over all the years, has been able to just stay right up there all the time because of that straight backswing and not getting into trouble.
How many boards difference belly-wise in the first 15 feet between her and Leanne, would you say?
Well, Leanne's setting the ball at 12, going all the way out to 7,
Sure.
6. And Lisa's probably have about a 3-board belly.
At the most.
At the most.
And that's when she's really trying to arc the ball. Right now, Barrett in the lead. Lisa Wagner trying to gain some momentum and throws a beautiful shot in the 7th. So we'll be back with the conclusion of match number 2 here from Country Club Lanes. Leanne Barrett leads by a bundle. In the 7th frame, Leanne Barrett with a solid 4-pin. And a spare up there, now leads by 36. However, Lisa Wagner is still on a strike and still could shoot a game in the 230s if she goes out the window.
Lisa's still having problems on the right lane, so I sort of like Leanne's chances at this point.
Leanne's probably figuring exactly the same. She knows what the problems are right now, so if she can just post the score, as they say, she'll probably move on to the semifinal game. Boy, that ball hits hard, doesn't it?
It sure does. 88 Bowlers Journal All-American. In 87, she was the Bowling Digest Rookie of the Year, so such a young age of 22, she's put together a lot of nice statistics.
And at the tender age of 28, Lisa Wagner already has 23 victories, so another outstanding career. More speed, different ball, basically the same reaction, not a strike on lane 26, and that was the key shot for Lisa.
Well, it was, and you mentioned that the next change would probably be a ball change, and that's exactly what she did. She was not getting a reaction off the ball she was using. She was either getting into the dry area, it was hooking too much, into the oily area, as we say, was not hooking enough. So she went to a softer shell bowling ball. It's still hooked, and she came back, she said, I got it. Doesn't matter that it did fall in the channel first and the ball could not go in the channel and hit the pin and still count. So I think Lisa's...
Watch out for the camera here.
Oh, my. Humor. Oh, goodness. came right to it. Well, Lisa did stick on that, as you can.
That almost looked like the thrill cam right there. Of course, our Baltimore crew risking life and limb to try and stay with that shot. And Lisa is still at this point trying to gather herself. But I think the key about her attitude is that she was able to laugh off the missed spare and say, hey, it's not my week. I'm going to finish 4th, and I'll take my chances next week in Indiana.
That's exactly right. You know, she won last week, and she feels fortunate how her career went last year. She said, you know, things just went my way, and right now things are going Robin Romeo's way, actually, as she's the player really to beat this year.
Career match play record of 62, 37, and 1 in her national television career. Those are Hall of Fame numbers right across the board. Just trying to finish up without getting hurt at this point. And there you can see the disappointment and yet the acceptance, the reality of the situation, because she's run into a buzzsaw on Leanne Barrett. Leanne, if she strikes out in the 9th and the 10th, shoots .258. Those are big-time numbers.
Leanne's highest game on television is .279. She did roll that against Aleta Sill in the AMF Virginia Classic a year ago, and these two will be matched up again if she beats Nikki Gianulias.
That's right.
So we may have a rematch of that particular event. We'll have to wait and see.
So game number 2 now into the record books, officially over as far as Lisa Wagner is concerned. Lisa will finish up with $2,000 to her credit, so she's just a fraction under $60,000 now on the year. Meanwhile, Leanne Barrett will continue to climb the ladder and take on Nikki Gianulias, who is next in line.
Lisa's mother, Emma Jean Rathgeber, and also her mother-in-law, Leah Wagner, are in the audience this evening and have been here throughout the week cheering Lisa on.
We're hoping for perhaps a little better result, but I know they're very, very proud of that young lady. A bomb in the 10th by Leanne Barrett, who has a possible .238. Has the ability to come into the championship round and throw strikes, and strings of strikes, Leila Wagner, which is really the key.
It is. Her level of concentration, as I mentioned, is so strong, Denny. I just don't think she really lets too many things bother her, getting her thought pattern.
Led this tournament for a while this week and had it slip away, and basically said, well, I'll just have to start from the number 3 position and see what I can muster.
It was very tight in about the 4th game of the first round in the finals. All 5 positions, there was only 27 pins separating all 5, and it was a very, very close tournament all the way around. I dropped 4 spots just in the last game, so, you know, all the spots themselves could have changed there in the last game.
You needed to reach for the parachute there. Well, there's the handshake. So as Lisa Wagner finishes out game number 2, Leanne Barrett will look to the future. And Nikki Gianulias, who is next in line here at Country Club Lanes in Baltimore, Maryland. Well, a championship round finalist a week ago, finishing up in the number 6 position. Carol Gianotti had to come in as the alternate.
We'll talk a little bit about that after we finish the top 24 finishers.
Cheryl Daniels with an outside shot at the telecast. Robin Romeo adds another $1,100 in that chase for the $100,000 mark.
Anne-Marie Pike making a tremendous surge, shooting 300 over last night to make it up to 11th.
Leila Wagner putting $980 back into the bank account as Mary Martha Chernalier, who was in the top 5 most of the week, finished up 16.
Our tournament qualifier, Mary Martha. And also Betty Morse, their 19th position.
Defending champion Jeannie Maiden qualifies 22.
And once again, Judy Sutar picking up that 24 spot. And Donna Adamek taking over the alternate position.
Karen Ellingsworth, former U.S. Open champion, in 26. Those are the rest of the ladies that finished up with paychecks here at Country Club Lanes in Baltimore, Maryland this week. And as we turn from bowling to the PGA Tour, complete 4-round coverage coming up from Tallahassee, Florida. Let's hope things have dried out a little bit down in the Sunshine State. Thursday through Sunday, live 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific Time. The PGA Tour live on ESPN. Size of the field, the century mark this week, 100, averaged to cash, a little fraction better than 202, and to make the telecast, 213 this week.
A good scoring condition, as we mentioned. You really had to be on top of your game.
Next week, the $45,000 Brunswick Open, live from Olympia Lanes in Hammond, Indiana, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, live on ESPN. Our first trip to Hammond, Indiana, and I'm told it's located about 60 minutes from O'Hare Airport in Chicago. As Nikki Gianulias, the number 2 seed, finishing up her practice shots here on the championship round pair. And as we mentioned, Carol Gianotti ended up in the number 7 position. She had to fill in and bowl for Donna Adamek, who was unable to go.
Well, Donna was having a little problem also with the approaches, and she re-pulled the muscle that we have been talking about in her past few telecasts that she had injured, and she wanted to be ready for the next few weeks, so she just said, hey, I'll withdraw and Carol can go in for me, and finished quite well.
So Nikki Gianulias now has opted for her starting lane, so Leanne Barrett will get the start here in game number 3, the semifinal game. And she'll begin preparation for a shot on lane 25. She has a 50-pin victory to her credit over Lisa Wagner in game 2, 227 to 177.
I think a key here, Denny, is Leanne is comfortable with this pair. She has hit the pocket in a very high percentage the last game, and comes right out and hits it again. So the shot looks good for Leanne.
Well, if you check her program stats, normally when she gets lined up in a television round pair, she's going to hit the pocket time after time. So I'm sure that Nikki is very well aware of that, although in practice, Nikki had a pretty good shot as well.
Nikki, coming off a second place finish last week, feels right on top of her game.
The top seed in this one, Aleta Sill from Dearborn, Michigan, waiting in the wings, loosening up a little bit, getting prepared for the one-game match. And boy, you have to look at this player here and wonder when, oh when, will she win a title on television?
Well, I asked her about last week, and I don't think it was the mental pressure of being in that number 1 position. She said she came out and she just felt like she couldn't hang on to the ball, or she put tape in it, then she would hang up. So the humidity was really bothering her last week, especially on the show with the lights and all.
Comes out and rips the rack on the right-hand lane, so she opens up with a strike. And basically, though, if you look at the numbers, she is 3-11 from the top seed position. She has not won on television in her last 21 appearances. So those are some staggering numbers when you think how difficult it is to get to the telecast, and she's done it for the 8th time this year.
And she almost captured the number 1 position here last night. So
yeah, I think she was 59 pins down going into the final game against Aleta, so she'd have had to bowl a big game to get there. But and right now she's waiting on her ball from lane 26.
Nikki, age 29. This is her 11th year on tour. She enjoys sailing and also tennis. Plays a lot of tennis.
And the last thing you need right now is after you throw a strike, to wait for the bowling ball, and we're all waiting with tremendous anticipation for that thing to pop out. So it seems like it's always one thing or another as far as Nikki is concerned. Now both of them come back, so she got 2 for the price of 1.
Right. I don't think Leanne's going to give up hers, though. Nikki looking for a double to start the match off.
Shot in the second, so she jumps out to the early lead.
Especially after that little bit of a break, she has to feel like, hey, are things going to go my way anytime soon? So really an excellent shot there. Good concentration.
Overdue for a couple of breaks is Nikki Gianulias. And both players starting to warm up here on the championship round pair.
I was reading Leanne's bio earlier, and I had to laugh because one of her hobbies was watching Joe Montana throw touchdowns for the Niners. She said Joe Montana's her guy, so she enjoys watching him throw touchdowns.
Sure, he probably enjoys watching her throw strikes as well.
Well, if he's tuned in, he would.
Well, sure. What else would he be doing this evening? Lots of room.
Oh, now that was a terrible break. Solid 7-pin. Don't see that too often, Denny, by a right-hander.
And there you see the little tweak of the nose. Not real crazy about that break either.
No.
That kills you. You throw your best shot and you leave the solid 7.
The 4-pin is supposed to take out that 7-pin. Looked like it flew right in front of it and over it and around it, but didn't hit it.
I guess there is a penalty for throwing it too well and having the ball hit too hard, but I think I'd rather be in that position than the other side of the spectrum.
You bet.
Which is where I normally was throughout my career.
That's why you're in television, right? Showbiz, as
so
we
I'm told, yeah. Solid year thus far. Obviously much better than last.
Well, Nikki coming out in 1979, bowler, Rookie of the Year, and in 1982 she was the Bowling Writers Women Bowler of the Year, so she's had a really great career.
Pulls this shot badly and leaves herself with a problem here in the third.
Now Nikki, a 4-step approach bowler, gets the ball pushed away on her first step. As you can see here, she wears the arm support, the wrist supports to keep her wrist in that straight position, long knee bend, good follow through, and very square and up, almost upright at the line. That's the force of her follow through that pulls her up.
Good leverage player, and you have to have leverage to pick up the spare that she just did, the 3, 6, 9, 10. Both players very deliberate, and we are, I think, running a little behind here, so bear with us. We might have to bowl through a couple more commercials in order to get everything in on time.
Well, Leanne, a player that does like to take her time. Also, Nikki.
Well, one thing is for sure, they know how to throw strikes when they get loosened up. So a good match here in the semifinal. Leanne Barrett leads by 6. We'll be back with more right after this. The ball, then you know they're going down.
This is about the biggest break Nikki Gianulias has received in a long time, as we mentioned. A solid 7 in the third frame for Leanne, a chop in the fourth, and back on it, as we say, in the fifth.
Well, Leanne's mistake has been setting the ball a little shorter left. It seems when she does swing the ball, she hits the pocket with every shot. Easy to notice that from up here, though. She probably thinks she's swinging the ball when she's really not. Nikki Gianulias works on a strike in the fourth. Could take a 29-pin lead if she strikes here.
Coming up high, last time on lane 26.
Yep. Same shot. Did not trust it, did not swing it right. So the right-hand lane obviously is much tighter than the left because the ladies are not giving it any room.
Nikki, another player that likes to cross boards, but she's able to project the ball speed and go pretty straight for a player that opens up as much as she does as well.
Very talented. She can go straight with it, medium, or really hook the thing right off the lane, and that's why she has 10 titles to her credit. You don't get that many without being very versatile as she tries now to pick up the baby split, and she fits it in there like a glove.
Perfect conversion as John Wonders looks on.
Yeah, the president of Faball Incorporated. Dennis Baldwin to the left, of course, the proprietor here and president of Faball, Maryland. And to his right, another outstanding individual, Dave Hardy, president of Faball, Utah.
We're surrounded by a lot of presidents.
Mm-hmm. This one explodes the pins on the left-hand lane. So the players who have solved the puzzle of the right-hand lane this evening have been the ones with the victories. For the viewers at home, you know, so many times the lanes look exactly the same. They look like they're hooking about the same, but there can be tremendous difference.
Well, there were a few characteristics this week. throughout the pairs that we hit. I found the right lanes hooking a little bit more than the left lanes in this particular instance. As we mentioned, the right lane's tighter, so certain pairs have certain characteristics. That's why we see the television averages so different on pairs. One player may be extremely low, another player extremely high. Take a look at this shot as she flushes this strike for the double. See where she sets the ball. Right around the 12th board, coming out to about the 9th board. That ball didn't really swing out as far. Pretty straight on line for Leanne. Here you can see the reaction of all the pins. The head pin going off the wall and kicking out that 7.
So that was the double. If she strikes here, she takes the lead by 1. This has been her good lane. And she throws an excellent shot. So while we depart here, Leanne Barrett has taken a 1-pin lead. We'll be back with a conclusion from Baltimore, Maryland, right after this. And we're back live after a clutch strike. Is it a 3-bagger? No, the solid 10 here in the 8th.
Figuring out lane 26 for the double here. Nikki stays right in it. The ball staying pretty straight on line. Not a lot of belly. Coming back just at the last minute and flush strike, as we say. And the last shot looked pretty good, too, on lane 25 as she left the ringing 10.
It was a key shot in the 7th. She needed to double up to kind of keep pace with Leanne. That one better stay on the lane. Just does. So Nikki with a spare in the 8th as we approach the latter stages here of the semifinal game. Next in line, the top seed, Aleta Sill of Dearborn, Michigan.
Leanne looking for one more strike right now to keep her within pins of Nikki Gianulias. She is now -8.
Plenty of room. Waves for it to stay, and it comes up and leaves the solid 4.
Plenty of room, but not a lot of ball speed. I think she realized she let up on it and it was going to hook in. She kind of waved it. And
it appears as if the ball will come back on the right-hand line.
And she can see that hitting high. Yes, it does. The players that have got it out there a few times, Lisa Wagner went a little right with it, and it hooked. So that can be worse. If you throw it right and you know it's not going to be coming back, or throw it right and know it's going to hook too much on you. So.
The fine-tuning, as they say, on the championship round pair.
And that's what it's all about.
First one to figure them out normally wins. Leanne trailing by 9.
The big strike here in the 9th frame.
Possible 226 for Leanne if she would strike out. 235, the best score for Nikki G. Another shot in the pocket leaves another solid 4. So Leanne has basically drilled the old 1-3, but has only one double in this game to show for it.
Well, if the 7-pin falls, that gives her a double, and the 2 4s right there could have given her a 5-bagger. Lanes could be changing a little bit for Leanne, breaking down a little bit more.
Well, you know they probably are. That's generally the characteristic. That's the other thing people don't realize at home. The professionals are constantly moving with their feet and their target a little bit and changing ball speeds to try and keep the ball in the pocket.
They change from the time you start practicing, Denny, till the time the games are over.
Yeah, many times you start with a ball in practice that works well, and you get up to throw your 4 shots right before the show, and it's not even close. Nikki Gianulias in a golden opportunity position right now to just grab the semifinal game. And she gets the messenger strike in the 9th, a break that she has been waiting for.
I think she probably thought this 7-pin is going to stand. As you can see here, just a great shot. The 5-pin going in front of the 7. The head of it hit it. Here comes the head pin to take out the 10.
Boy, do you see the head pin hit the 5-2 and kind of push it into the 7? Leanne saw it all the way and didn't care much for it. Well, Leanne's best score would be 215, so a strike right here puts Nikki Gianulias in the position to move on to the championship game. Ooh, boy, couldn't throw it much better, but we have a possibility of a tie here in the semifinal game with a spare strike. Would be 215 for Nikki G, and if Leanne would strike out, she would shoot 215.
So we saw it in the first game, Stacy Rider needing 3 strikes to win the match.
She's got 2, and it's close.
If Nikki spares and strikes, Leanne will need all 3.
All right, so first things first. Time to regroup now and throw the strike.
Leanne clutching her grip right type bag. Really concentrating. It looks like she's probably watching exactly what Nikki's doing, but there's a form of concentration here.
Uh-oh, not a good shot at all. Oh, the break of the century for Nikki Gianulias, who flat yanked it and ends up with 215. So Leanne kind of shrugs her shoulders and says, I guess you got to expect that once in a while.
Like you said, definitely yanked it. Hit inside her target, the ball hooking, and got the break by it going left. 5-pin falling backwards, and this is her reaction. Okay, I'll take it.
All right, so 3 strikes. And we have a tie here in the semifinal game.
Oh,
good shot.
Oh. Leanne fouled on that shot, Denny.
Well, off comes the glove. Not happy with that at all. Leanne Barrett fouls and just gives it away to Nikki G.
Now, with the long slide that she has, a player that has fouled actually 3 or 4 times during this tournament, got to the line ahead of the ball, fouled. Now she's just finishing out the match. So we can try to take a look at her foot over the line. You could see just about a half an inch there over the line.
So a critical error for Leanne Barrett, who loses 215 to 182. We're down to the final 2. Nikki Gianulias in the top seed, Aleta Sill, when we return to Baltimore, Maryland.
That's right, Denny.
And let's take a look at the finalist spy round. Now, Aleta Sill started 11th, kind of worked her way up, and then held on to the top spot.
You can see a look at Nikki's performance. She's right up there pretty much the whole tournament.
Never lower than 6th, and now she has an opportunity to snap a long string. She has made 21 appearances without a victory, and with Aleta Sill right in front of her right now, it won't be an easy road.
Leanne Barrett asked me to mention that a fan of hers, Jean at home, is very ill, and she wanted to let him know that her thoughts and prayers are with him, and wanted to get that in before we get too far into this match.
Okay. Opening shot, championship game. And a little trip of the 4 to start things off.
I think Nikki feeling very comfortable here tonight versus last week when we mentioned her hand going up and down with the humidity. So I think that's the key for her. She says, hey, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And another lady that feels the same way is Aleta Sill.
Well, just like clockwork, a methodical player that doesn't seem to let much bother her.
Now, as you can see, Aleta's game. She actually has that crook in her elbow when she comes through, but good knee bend. And like she said, very methodical. She had a little bit of a wrist injury, tendonitis, earlier this year, and she's been babying it, had to take a few weeks off. She says it feels great right now.
Had that wrist in a cast for about 3 weeks. Plenty of extra roll on that shot as she leaves the 8 count. And told me, too, Leila, that she's basically gone from a 16-pound ball to a 15-pound ball to kind of help the tendonitis along.
Making a big difference. I did that. I had tendonitis in my elbow at one point a few years back. I dropped from 16-pound to 15-pound balls. A lot of the women on tour do throw 16-pound bowling balls, and there are a lot out here that throw 15-pound bowling balls. So.
And there's obviously a difference on some conditions as far as pin carry is concerned. Aleta said that this week she didn't have much problem at all with pin carry, as she obviously gets away with a close shave here in the second.
A very unusual way to pick up this spare here.
Well, there's nothing like watching a little trick shooting as well in the championship round.
That's exactly what that was, and a big smile from Aleta as she walked back and knew she picked that up by the hair on her chinny chin chin.
A little room on the right-hand lane, and now Nikki Gianulias kind of getting a little feel for the championship round pair as she starts with a double.
Coming out a little bit more aggressively now on lane 26, giving it the room, the ball making the break back.
Career-wise, Nikki 1 and 3 against Aleta Sill. As a matter of fact, Aleta defeated her in her first ever appearance in the championship round and won her first title.
That was in 1981 at the Galaxy of Homes Open in Los Angeles, and I believe that bowling center is no longer there either.
Kind of tough to go back and defend.
That's right.
Right back at him. So Nikki Gianulias with a hot hand in the championship game starts with the first 3.
Nikki may be feeling this is her opportunity right here. Lane 25, her good lane. You've got to hit your good lane. Just crunches the pocket. She say, come on, baby, as she carry.
And on the other side of the coin, not going to get the job done with the head pin. Aleta Sill hits the pocket and ends up with a 7 pin. 8 wins and 6 losses from the top seed position. She shares the most victories from the top seed with Lisa Wagner, who has also won 8 times, but has started 17 times from the top seed position. A cool customer, this Aleta Sill.
At 27 years of age.
15 titles. Average on the television pair this week, 220. And there you see shaking her head a little bit. Obviously wanting to get something started here quickly.
She's used to getting them started quickly, Denny. You've seen her come up many times and just throw the first 5 or 6 in a row.
Yeah, you're right about that. She makes good shots and usually gets ahead. Finds herself trailing here, though, in the championship game by 21 pins.
Nikki looking to keep the string going. Has started out with 3 in a row. Her tournament high game, 280. Kim Terrell also shot 300 this week, Denny, along with Leanne Barrett.
Pocket shot leaves the 10 pin.
A good attempt on 26. As the 6 pin just sits in the channel, though, so she did give it the room. It didn't quite make it back with enough force to cause the 6 pin to get the 10 out. 26 is the tricky lane. You have to throw good shots or you don't get strikes. It looks like even if you do throw a pretty good shot, you might not get it, so it has been the tricky lane here this evening.
No mistakes at this point. Just stay ahead, keep hitting the pocket, and force the top seed, Aleta Sill, to come back. Aleta working on a strike in the 4th. As you see graphically how close this one is thus far. Anytime you got that strike up and you get a chance to come up in turkey, you're right in the thick of the match.
Want to get the lead quick, too, Danny. These games go very, very fast. Get a jump on your opponent. Good hit, a little high, leaving the 4 pin. Seen a lot of 4 pins tonight. Back ends are finishing very good. Means the last few feet of the lane, the ball takes and dives very sharply to the left.
I watched Aleta Sill that time. Didn't pay attention to the shot from Gianulias, and Aleta looked down at the floor the whole time. Did not want to see what was happening. A 19-pin differential between Nikki Gianulias in the blue and the lady in red, Aleta Sill. Aleta with a career television match play record of 41-35 thus far this year. In '89, she's won 8 times and lost 5.
She's been able to capture 1 title this year, and that was in her hometown of Detroit, a very special title for her.
Trying to double up, and she does. Kicks that 7-pin out, and now it's just a 9-pin match.
Once again, our low angle, as you can see. Stays with the shot, good leverage, and good results.
4-pin at the last moment, taking out the 7. Strike here, and she leads by 1.
Oh, and the head pin looked like it was going to make it.
An active head pin, but it didn't quite get to the 7. Goes to the harder, shinier equipment for the cross lane spare conversion.
Aleta enjoying golf and also fishing in her time off, so she likes to relax.
Good look at our vantage point. Of course, we do have plexiglass in front of us, and the players do not really ever hear what we're saying. Don't want to disturb them while they're on the approach.
No, it's very important that you don't hear really any sounds, unusual sounds, and door slamming, things like that when you're trying to concentrate.
Good speed, tough break, solid 10. Second time in a row she's left the 10-pin on lane 26, and she's got a pretty good feel for the lane. She just can't knock them down.
That's right, lane 26, the tough lane. We've talked about it all night. A little flat on her last attempt. She made the adjustment and now leaving a ringing 10, so it's just the amount if she can carry.
Nikki posted the high average throughout the tournament on the championship round pair. There you saw it, 228. Solid. Picks up the 10-pin one more time. Bowling with a lot of confidence right now.
She is. She looks like she's confident. She feels good. However, she's just saying, hey, you know, I'd like to carry. I've hit the pocket now 6 times in a row and left 2 10s and a 4.
And she might be seeing 10 pins in the rack as she goes for the re-rack on lane 25.
Players are allowed 1 re-rack during their match. If any others are requested, Tournament Director Fran Wolf will step in and decide whether it's awarded or not.
Old Eagle Eyes. Really getting out of the ball clean right now, and she kind of caves things in a little bit and strikes in the 7.
Well, they say what goes around comes around, and she did get the break here as the ball hitting high, and she got out of a big split here, Denny. She had the big 4 standing at one time, and the 4-10 the last to go.
Then it was adios to the rest of the crew. Big break there in the 7th. Trailing by 9 now and shooting in the 7th. Plenty of room. This one comes charging back, and Aleta Sill now, who trails by 9, could recapture the lead if she strikes in the 8th.
Take a look at actually Aleta's line where she's playing off the left side. Really between the 1st and 2nd arrow, right around the 5th, 6th board.
Well, you love to see that ball roll all the way through to the pit. Things just turning over label after label.
Left-handers usually with a natural forward roll.
Ooh, both players have just throttled the pocket here in the championship game, and other than a couple of doubles and 1 turkey, there haven't been many strikes.
Aleta only missing the pocket 1 time. Nikki not missing the pocket. We could have had all strikes, Denny.
Mm-hmm.
But 1.
problem with the 7, and both players just kind of going back and forth. And we're going to see, I think, a very crucial 10th frame, and what better way to wrap up the $40,000 Hammer Eastern Open than have it come down to 1 frame.
Well, you see a lot of times, Denny, on higher scoring conditions that it just does just come down to who can carry. And you can adjust your carry by your ball speeds, by the weights in the balls, and the players are always trying to find that magic ball that will carry the best for them.
Trying for the double, this with more room, and just a slash-o-matic shot, and kind of a funny shot. She left the 10.
Really blowing out the pins that time. Throwing everything left except the 6 pin. Just went to the channel. Didn't take out that 10.
Stacy Rider finished 5th, Lisa Wagner 4th, Leanne Barrett in the number 3 position, and we're down to 2 out of 100 players that started the week here in Baltimore.
We're seeing more and more players coming out bowling, especially this fall. Great prize money, good tournaments.
And of course, it's live on ESPN. This one's pretty much been the scenario of the way they qualified here this evening. Each higher qualifier has won the match, so if that holds true, Aleta Sill will have victory number 16. I'm not so sure that's going to happen here tonight.
That's right. She's trailing by 9. Nikki Gianulias up in the 9th frame. A key shot right here. If she gets this, there's no way Aleta could lock her out.
And if she strikes here and would take it off the sheet, she could shoot 237. That's more than enough to win. The best score Aleta could post would be 228. Stretches out nicely, needs the break, and doesn't get it. Leaves the 10 pin. So it's one shot after another in the pocket, and Aleta quickly up to look at the scoreboard, realizing, hey, I can win now. If I go up and throw 3 strikes, I can win this match. And that's all you can ever hope for.
That's right. We saw Stacy Rider hoping for it, just to get up, throw 3 strikes. Leanne Barrett, throw 3 strikes to tie. We've had some very good matches tonight.
Competitive all the way down the line. A little oohing and eyeing, and I'm going to join the crowd there. I didn't think that was going to stay on the lane.
I didn't either, to tell you the truth. I think I was going to ooh and ah on that one.
Okay, very simply put right now, Aleta Sill is in a position to take this one and notch career victory number 16. She needs 3 strikes in order to do so.
Come on, ball.
Good ball speed. Oh boy, another solid 7, so this one's going right down to the bitter end.
Both players are going to take this tape home and look at it and go, hey, any one of these shots could have gone. Watch the 4 pin here. Just ringing around the 7, and her reaction, like, come on. She knew she threw a good ball.
All right, enough of the 7 pin, so now 217 would be her top score, and now Nikki Gianulias, if she would double, could win the championship. Back and forth, Leila.
Wanting to post all 3 strikes.
Come on, ball.
Fans calling for it to get up, and it sure did giddy up right into the pocket, so she's got the first one, a possible 217 if she strikes out.
If she strikes out, she does force Nikki to get 2 strikes and to stay behind the line.
And you don't have to be a mathematician to realize what she needs. Key shot right here, though.
Aleta not taking a lot of time.
Come on, ball.
Oh, a clutch shot for Aleta Sill, who strikes in the 11th. So one more, and it's 217, but she does force the double.
Hitting a little lighter in the pocket, carrying the wall shot, as we say. Carried better than the 7 pin.
Ooh, look at the eyes there, huh?
One more count is very important here. 1 strike forces Nikki to get 2.
One more to kind of finish things off. That one was right at the target, but she strikes out. And so it's a game of 217 coming up immediately following Nikki Gianulias' shot here in the 10th. Of course, ESPN Sports Center, Bob Lee, Dan Patrick, and of course the American League Eastern Division race featured this evening along with all the rest of the baseball scores. Bob Lee, Dan Patrick coming up next on ESPN Sports Center. In case you've just joined us, 2 strikes and she's a winner. And if she doesn't get the first one right here, Aleta Sill has captured championship number 16. Slipped and fouled and threw the ball with the 4-9. Oh, my goodness. Leanne Barrett slipped and fouled and lost in the 3rd game this evening. And Aleta Sill can't believe the break she just got.
Nikki shaking her head after this shot here. She is not a player that you see foul very often. She went over the line, fell off balance. It obviously caused her to pull the ball. You can see her foot there, about an inch over the line.
Knew it immediately, and so Aleta Sill is the winner. And for Nikki Gianulias, the problems continue in the championship round.
27 years old.
A come-from-behind win for top seed Aleta Sill here in the Hammer Open. On the right, Dennis Baldwin, the proprietor. On the left, John Wonders, the president of Faball Incorporated. A marvelous event, $7,000 richer, and you watched it all live right here on ESPN. The championship round finals of the $40,000 Hammer Eastern Open have been brought to you by Faball, home of Hammer bowling balls and accessories, available at the finest pro shops everywhere. By Britannia, live in Britannia. And by Bud Light, everything else is just a light. The LPBT Tour heads off to Olympia Lanes in Hammond, Indiana.
The U.S. Troops won't be involved.
Nancy. Straight with the boards, plenty of speed, and so she doubles up in the second and the third, puts the pressure back on Karen Wakefield.
Karen having a lot of pressure put on her in the past, formerly bowling with West Texas State. She was also a representative in the 1989 International Youth Bowling Championships in the Philippines. Once again, another fine collegiate player coming up.
Well, that one's through the nose, and one a little bit light, and then that one a little bit high, and I think he's pleased about breaking up the split anyway.
You bet. A big smile from Art. Very instrumental in coaching Karen throughout her career.
Of the 5 finalists this evening, she had the highest average on the championship round pair, averaged 236. She had just 1 game on this pair, so you know she was probably feeling good about 33 and 34 coming into tonight.
She also won the most matches of any of our top 5 players. She came away with 17 matches, so that really helped her out.
17-6 and 1 tie this week for Karen Wakefield. Carol Gianotti, the 21-year-old right-hander from Perth, Australia, our top seed this evening. The winner of this match will take on the talented Gianotti. Gives it some room, shakes the 5-pin around, but the 5 will stand.
Looking for the wall shot to carry there. The ball deflecting when it hits the pocket, does not carry out the 5-pin.
Does she make an adjustment on her strike ball while shooting the 5 here?
Usually the players actually just shoot their strike ball, Denny.
So it was left of the 5, but picked it up nonetheless. She trails by 11. Donna Adamek working on a double in the second and the third. When we come back, Adamek with a dice-o-matic strike in the 4th.
You know you're getting good ball reaction, Denny, when you see the 5-pin go left. This is the power, the amount of revolutions she can create. Now, her nickname was the Mighty Mite, and it's just for that reason she's able to get a lot of lift, a lot of fingers in the ball. Donna recently opened up a pro shop in Azusa, California, the Bowlers Lane Pro Shop. So the folks out there can go see her and visit her, get some good advice on new equipment.
Well, if anybody could tell them, she could. I think she does something that's very interesting throughout match play, and I don't know if she does it in qualifying or not, but in between matches, even between shots a lot of times, she throws the stereo headphones on. Is she listening to music or positive mental attitude tapes or what?
She's usually listening to music, Denny. It's just one form of getting into your own world, concentrating, and totally blocking out everything else around you.
Probably listening to We Are the Champions.
Positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
Karen looking to get back into this match.
Right-hand lane has been a mystery thus far for Karen Wakefield. 3 shots, and she's yet to get a strike.
Doesn't really look like she's throwing the ball with as much power on it, Denny. She usually has a little bit more ball speed, a little bit more aggressive to the line. And a lot of players, especially after their first time on television, have told me that, you know, you get up there and you feel like you're throwing it as hard and fast as you can, but it's really going in slow motion, and I felt the same way in certain matches.
Continues to spare, and with despair now trails by 22.
Karen, an accountant on her time off. She joined the tour after tax season, and her boss, Don Mustico, has been very helpful in letting her off for the off season of accounting and to participate out here on tour. That was a super shot right there, throwing the 6 right around the 10. Now definitely getting a better ball reaction on lane 33. Here we can see a shot of her approach. She's a little bit high at the line, but this is her natural game. Watch the 6-pin just flies around the 10. She really thought she threw a good shot, and she did throw a good shot, just didn't carry.
Trying to get something started, but she'll have to wait until the 7th frame in order to do so.
Donna checking the rack, making sure all pins are on spot. It's one thing you don't want to do is get up there and make a great shot and leave something that you might not normally have left.
Plenty of speed. Boy, she is really making some beautiful shots.
Once she's lined in on lane 34, here you can see from the lower front angle. And the result. Taking this match well in hand.
Trying to double and extend the lead, and ooh my, you could hear that 10-pin all the way out to Chicago.
Once again, just a great shot on lane 33. The 6-pin is thrown around the 10. Now, a player won't adjust for a 10-pin like that, Denny. Usually, the ball's just coming up a little bit late. It can just be as much as, you know, a half a foot, inches, that the ball finishes behind the head pin, throwing that 6 right into the 10.
I was used to make the verbal adjustment when I would leave the solid 10. Of course, didn't do me any good, won't do anybody else any good either. But we'll be back with the conclusion of match number 3. Donna Adamek by 23 from Hammond, Indiana. Proprietor of Olympia Lanes, and truly a unique success story here. Of Greek descent, came over here I think when he was 19 years old, and has done marvelous things here in Hammond, Indiana.
I think he owns half the town, Denny.
I think he does too, and I think we're sitting in the half that he does own.
Well, that we are.
Funny guy and outstanding host for the ladies this week. She needs a strike, and she leaves the solid 4. And what I love about Karen Wakefield is she comes back and still shows me those pearly whites.
Big smile from Karen. No, she made a good shot. You know, the ball just finished a little hard, left herself a 4-pin. Now, the last 2 shots, she could have caught a double with any luck at all.
And, of course, for those of you geographically are wondering where Hammond, Indiana really lies, it's basically just 30 minutes from downtown Chicago.
That's in no traffic.
Right, right. It's 15 minutes if you take helicopter. If you take the train, what, like an hour?
Oh, you have your own helicopter, right?
Yes, sure. Producer George Smith and director Ken Samuel and I travel by helicopter weekly, if not the limousine, so. Wakefield trailing by 24, and she needs to get something started because Donna Adamek won't wait for her. Well, Lori Nichols used the Brooklyn throughout most of game number 1 to great success. Karen's picking up where Lori left off.
Well, she didn't carry the 10-pin or the 4-pin in the pocket, so, you know, why not catch a break on the other side? As you can see here, the ball's going to cross over. Looks like it's going to set, but it makes a left turn. Big smile there. Okay, if you're going to give it to me, I'll take it.
Set it a little short. And that's the result. Soft 10-pin for Donna Adamek in the 8th.
The ball sliding a little too long, Denny. Didn't make a hard break back the 6-pin line in the channel.
You know, many people feel that the key to scoring on synthetic lanes, which is what we have this week at Olympia Lanes, is speed control, being able to throw the ball basically about the same speed on every single shot. It appears it's more important to do that on the synthetics than on the hard plastic surfaces.
I think that's probably true with the amount of synthetic tournaments that we do see on our tour. We're in more and more, especially adding Olympia Lanes here this week. About four events of the year are on synthetics.
Possible 238 for Donna Adamek. 225, the top score for Karen Wakefield. Sneaks up a little bit. A riot on hand, but the 4-pin never touched.
Knowing she really made a bad shot there, shook her head as she came back, sending the ball a little too far to the right. Once again, the natural instinct for Donna to go right with the ball. It's not natural for her to close up.
And what amazes me so much about the game of bowling, Leila, is the fact that last game, Donna Adamek couldn't miss on the left-hand lane, and now the left-hand lane's become the lane that's given her a few problems. It just goes to show you that that conditioner's always moving.
It is always moving, and once again, you also know that you get so locked in on a lane that the mental pressure to get up and strike again on that lane is even more so. You know you're locked up, you know you should strike, so you sort of make a bad shot.
In the pocket, and it doesn't, and Karen Wakefield is fortunate to walk away with just the 6-pin. If she spares here and strikes out, it would be a game of 205. Donna right now shooting at 217 with just a mark and some count. She's had her opportunities, Leila. She just hasn't been able to step up and strike.
No, we haven't seen too many strikes out of Karen. Only 2 strikes thus far in the game, one of them crossing over. So she really hasn't felt comfortable on this pair of lanes this evening.
But no opens. She's made every one of her spares.
Now that's important. A lot of times that can win you a match.
Well, she's still in a situation, if she strikes out and shoots 205, if something drastic happens to Donna in the 10th, she can still walk away a winner.
Good shot there to step up in the 10th frame, put a little pressure on now. That was the first strike. She needs the next strike here. And you're right, she could force Donna to at least get up and stay pretty clean.
A strike here forces Adamek to mark in the 10th frame to advance into the championship. Needed some help and didn't get it. So Donna Adamek basically ends up with a freebie here in the semifinal game, and she's aware of it right at this point.
I don't know if you'd call it a freebie, Denny. Now, Karen,
well,
the
if you don't
190.
have to mark when you get up in the 10th,
right.
I mean, that to me is an easy way to get there. You don't think so?
Well, she worked hard to get there up until this frame.
Well, she struck in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Key to put the pressure on early in a match, then the pressure isn't on late.
So a game of 195 for Karen Wakefield, but it's not going to be enough.
And this was not an easy spare to convert with the sleeper back there. Watch the ball take out both the 3 and the 9 pin and the 10. Just perfect conversion.
Watch this ball take them all out right there. A power shot. Slash LaRue, if you would, on lane 34.
A big smile there, Donna talking to herself just through that ball superbly as the 5-pin just ripped the racket.
It's amazing how loose that swing gets, though, when you don't have to mark or strike.
You bet.
So for the second time in the last 4 weeks, Donna Adamek will have an opportunity to win a championship here on ESPN. Oh,
the love tap from the 6th. And when it goes right, it just all goes right.
Well, that's right. We see that many times in a match coming up. Now, we haven't really seen Donna catch any breaks, so she's really worked hard and got everything that she deserved.
And if you're Carol Gianotti, what lane do you want her to finish on? Any lane in particular, or are you trying to choose your best lane?
It looks like Donna's got both lanes pretty well figured out. I think Carol should really concentrate on her best lane at this point.
Yeah, she should have Donna finish on lane 41, perhaps. It's only 40 in the building. Well, 227 to 195, the winner, Donna Adamek, and she is poised and ready for the challenge from Carol Gianotti from Perth, Australia, when we return. And based on 30% of the country calling in at this point, we've got an update now on our statistics. In a one-game match, could an LPBT bowler beat a PBA bowler? 37% of the players say yes. What do you think, Leanne?
Well, I think that statistic should be a little bit higher.
Sure.
Yeah. In the best of 5 matches, well, once again, a little higher. And 7 matches. 12% would say that the PBA bowler would win all, or no, the PBA wouldn't win all. Would win all matches.
Yeah, that's
12%.
interesting. Well, we still have some time left for you to call in and let your voice be heard on our ESPN telephone survey this evening. Going to be some people in hot water at the end of this one tonight.
You. Carol starting off the match with a nice shot. Oh, my.
Now, wait a minute. Where did that pin come from? Gianotti with the consummate break here to start the match.
Goodness, that pin came out of the pit. I'm not even sure. Let's try to figure out which pin this was. I don't think it was the head pin. It wasn't.
No, it was like the 2 pin.
Wow.
Look at that. Unbelievable. And that's what Donna Adamek said. But Donna said, you know, I'll strike on my own on the right-hand lane, and so she did. The 2 pin. It had to be the 2 pin. Maybe we'll get one more look at that.
Interesting.
It's either the 2 or the 4, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't the head pin.
Nope, and it wasn't the 7.
No. 5.
I think we've narrowed it down.
How many pins are left? Donna taking a re-rack. Now the players are allowed 1 re-rack per game. And if they would like any others, they have to call on our tournament director, Fran Wolf. She'll step in, check the pins, see if they're on spot, and either allow or disallow the re-rack.
The number to call if you want to get involved in our survey here this evening. Keep in mind, every 50th caller receives a 10th anniversary banner. Looking to double. And this one, I have a feeling, is going to heat up real early.
Donna looking very tough, very aggressive. Carol also coming out with the opening shot. Taking a little bit of time, a little bit deep breath. Now the player that's a little bit more nervous right now in this match has got to be Carol.
Doesn't waste much time. Lots of speed. This is sliding by the head pin and leaves the 8 count.
Not really getting that ball off her hand with enough revolutions to get the ball to finish hard enough. She came back, kind of wiped her thumb. I think she lost it a little bit early. Now, she normally does set the ball short, and this ball just slid by the head pin, just catching it.
Bucket disintegrated. Got a break there. So a spare up for the Free Spirit from down under.
Really a nice game that she has here. A 5-step approach. 3 little steps at the end. Right there, and a nice slide. Look how low she is to the line. Good wrist, good quick release.
Powerful player, great hand action. Set that one way and gets it to sit in the pocket. So Gianotti with a strike on the left-hand lane. Trails in the match by 10. Boy, 2 completely different personalities, too. That one by the head pin and the 2-pin stance.
Donna letting that ball out a little bit farther. Doesn't come back up. Carol trying to keep her hands dry. You mentioned the personalities. Carol very carefree, outgoing, very Australian, as you might say, as you hear about the Australians. She's just like that. A lot of fun, is out here to enjoy life.
Good day.
Good day. And Donna also. Donna's just a lot more quiet of a player.
Yeah, Donna Adamek yucks it up once in a while. I mean,
Yes, she
anyone,
does.
and I don't know if we can get a shot of this, but anyone who would wear Donald Duck socks on national television certainly has a sense of humor.
Well, she collects Donald Ducks. That's one of her hobbies. And she has many of them, including the ones on her socks. Coming back with a great shot there, just leaving a ringing 10. Donna's been traveling in a motor home with Joyce Nevico. And there's a shot at her socks. There's Donald there. Joyce Nevico has been a traveling companion, good friend from home. Husband Lou has been at home watching Donna's success every week.
So a spare up in the fourth for Donna Adamek, who now leads by 8. But more importantly, Carol Gianotti working on a strike here now in the fourth.
A big strike here in the fourth for Carol. Put her right back in the match.
Ooh, the 6-pin fell, and a fortunate miss. Gianotti heads back to the ball return.
Setting that ball short, pulling the ball inside her target. The ball hits straight on the head pin. And the ball pins come over, knock out the 6. A good break there, giving her one pin spare versus the 6-10.
You almost sense a little bit, Leila, as if she doesn't really want to swing the ball in lane 34, but she's going to have to if she wants to strike.
Well, she made the adjustment. She swung the first one, almost left the bucket, just got away with it, leaving the 2-5. That time she made the difference. A big move there between the second and third round for Carol, from 35th all the way to second.
And then she dropped to 9th, but then regained the #1 position. Brilliant bowling last evening in the final 8 games of match play.
In her big move, I asked her, you know, what the difference was in her game, and she said, well, normally she angles her body off to the right to swing the ball. She made the big move by actually angling her body to the left and trying to play real closed, real tight, getting her shoulders lined up to the left, and that made the big difference for her.
Of course, if your shoulders are more square at the line, it's very difficult to leak the ball to the right, which was the out of bounds this week at Olympia Lanes. Tight championship match to the winner, $8,000 and the Brunswick Open title, and a powerful shot provided by Adamek in the 5th.
That ball just really holding line once again, still around the 12th, 13th board now. Donna's playing lane 34, very tight, and that ball just held line.
Needs the double. Oh my, that was as good a shot as she has thrown all week long, so the pressure shifted back over to Gianotti.
Carol having won title, the WIBC Queens event she won earlier this spring. Her other high finish has been second, which was in Rockford, Illinois just last year, and she did that on her birthday.
It's been the problem lane, and she's still trying to figure out lane 34. The question is, will she figure it out quick enough?
Well, she's going to have to figure it out real quick because Donna looks real tough.
Adamek working on the double. That would have been an opportune time for Gianotti to strike, but now she trails by 18.
The 2-8 spare, a difficult spare, wanting to go very direct, trying to cover both pins.
Needs it, and she throws it away. So Gianotti opens up in the 6th and swings the door wide open for Donna Adamek here in the championship match. Coming up at the completion of the Brunswick Open here this evening, stand by for Bob Lee and Dan Patrick on ESPN's Sports Center. The key stories obviously this evening, the National League and American League playoffs, and also a sad note to report, the great Secretariat, one of the finest racehorses of all time, is dead. So stay tuned for Dan Patrick and Bob Lee on Sports Center.
Coming up high again on lane 33, not really feeling comfortable. Doesn't look like she's able to come out and get lined up here in the title match, Danny.
Hardest thing in the world to do is to sit for the better part of an hour, hour and 15 minutes, watch people compete, all the butterflies flying around. Then you have 4 practice shots to get out there and determine where you're going to play the lanes. And when you play somebody like Donna Adamek, who's had 2 games to get ready, that's a tough call.
It is a tough call, and Carol was able to come out. She did practice an hour and a half ago, and now she came out. Being the top seed, she's allowed 6 practice balls. And a lot of times that's just really not enough, because the lanes can change quite a bit during the telecast.
Plenty of speed, and I think you saw the adjustment right at the line. She really ripped that one through because she knew she was a little ahead of that shot, but nevertheless leaves the 4-pin. She left the 4-9 in game number 2, but since that time she's bowled brilliantly on lane 34.
Well, I definitely think she moved in with where she was playing to compensate for the hard finish in the back end. That one she did just rip through. A little bit of extra fingers. The ball finished a little too hard, and she left herself with the 4-pin. Big title came for Donna in 1987 was the 1988, excuse me, the Samstown National Pro-Am. That was her first title since 1983. Like I mentioned before, she did take a couple years off. So this has been a real big comeback year for her, coming back now in 1989 and to prove that she's still out here and still can win.
All right, Donna. All right. Not a good shot there. A little ahead of herself one more time. Carol Gianotti realizing that time is running out for her here in the championship game.
Donna wanting to at least stay clean, keeping the pressure on Carol, wanting to pick up this spare, and it's not an easy spare. It has the sleeper. The 9-pin is sitting behind the 3-pin. And she's got the 6 and the 10 to worry about too.
That's plenty. Stood straight up on it, and she picked up the spare. Nice shot, and there you see the big sigh of relief, because had she missed there, Gianotti would have had a golden opportunity. And for Carol, if she would strike out from the 8th, she could shoot a game of 218.
Which would force Donna to catch a double.
She still has a pretty good shot if she could figure out this lane. Good shot. Oh, what a dandy. Well, that was the clutch shot of the week for Carol Gianotti.
Perfect shot, Denny. Just beautiful. After not being able to hit lane 34 at all, watch this one. Just stay right on line, right around the 12th board again. Not much belly. All 10.
Acceleration. It goes Brooklyn, and Gianotti doubles in the 8th and the 9th, and boy, does that change the complexion.
The biggest break of the match right there, Brooklyn in the 9th frame. Now Donna must get up and get a double, catch the 1 here in the 9th, the first one in the 10th, or the 2 in the 10th.
Possible 233 for Adamek. Doesn't waste much time, gives it some room, and leaves the dinner bucket. Boy, has this one changed dramatically.
Yes, it has. Not coming through that ball with too much lift and fingers on it. The ball sailing out, leaving herself with a bucket. And once again, not an easy conversion, especially when the pressure's on right here in the 9th frame.
Hard and straight. Boy, what a classy pickup that was.
It was, Denny, and the 6 count there on that spare really actually hurt Donna quite a bit. As we can see here, picking up the spare, a classy conversion, as you mentioned. But that 6 count, now she must have 3 strikes to win this match, or to force Carol to get all 3.
So she would shoot 219 and close her out, obviously.
Carol, best possible game, 218.
A bit unlucky there. Threw a nice shot, first shot in the 10th, and Gianotti, as the numbers flash in front of her eyes, realizes at this stage she could win her 2nd title of '89.
Really a great shot there. The 5-pin ripping in front of the 7. Donna looking as the unlucky one in this match as Carol captures a Brooklyn for the double. Donna gets up and rips it and almost missed the 7-pin.
Well, a couple of minutes ago, life was just ducky for Donna Adamek, but certainly turned around.
Donna had a 30-pin lead back in the 6th frame, and it is now turned around.
The law of diminishing returns.
A strike here would force Carol to get up and strike.
Good aggressive shot. Now she gets the pin action that she needed in the 10th frame. So a solid performance for Donna Adamek, who posts a game of 208.
The key strike here, count would have forced Carol only to strike. Now Carol needs 2 strikes and 1 pin.
Hard and straight. Oh, my goodness. A key shot for Giannotti. One more, and she's a winner here in Hammond, Indiana.
Can't get much better than that, Denny. Just walked up there like she's done this many, many times before. We'll see what happens here in the 11th. She needs this one.
Set it short. Oh, Giannotti with a double in the 10th. And the lady from Perth, Australia, really showing her true colors here, as now she just basically needs to stay behind the line to capture the title.
Didn't waste much time there, Denny. Like you said, just stepping right up. Now, she normally sets the ball short anyway. That one held line, just threw it superbly.
Just get rid of it in a hurry, and she does. So Carol Gianotti ends up with a brilliant performance and a hug from her opponent as she wins 217 to 2-8. And we'll be back with a final conclusion from Hammond, Indiana, right after these messages.
There's a level of performance that separates the good from the great. That's why Carmen Salvino designed the Ebonite Thunderbolt. The exclusive power core increases gyroscopic action for a sharper hook on heavy oil. And the Thunderbolt rolls farther before hooking, so it hits harder for less deflection and more striking power. The difference between good and great is the power of the Thunderbolt.
Nature's light. Bathing fields of grain, enriching full, fresh hops, giving life to sparkling streams, nourishing all the natural things that go into making Bud Light. The light beer that's beechwood aged for a clean, fresh taste that makes Bud Light the one light that outshines them all.
The Murine Earwax Removal System has drops that safely loosen hardened wax when used as directed, plus an ear washer to gently flush wax away. Murine, the complete medically approved system to safely remove earwax.
Call now and you can have 13 weeks of the Wall Street Journal and this valuable 120-page guide to understanding money and markets. That's 13 weeks of the Journal for the news and ideas you need every business day. And this guide free, which tells you everything you want to know about money and markets, now for only $34. Call toll-free 800-548-0100. Today's Wall Street Journal. Faster, tougher, smarter. Call 800-548-0100 now.
The USA is locked in a battle for the final World Cup berth. Now they must hit the road for a vital test against Guatemala, Sunday afternoon at 5 Eastern on ESPN.
Boy, they're excited about Carol Gianotti winning here, and from Brunswick Corporation, Brian Collins has an $8,000 check.
Congratulations, Carol. Exciting match. I have a check for you for $8,000. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Sean, and thanks to Brunswick.
And thanks to a very special man, Mr. Gianulias, as he has a beautiful trophy and some flowers for our newest champion.
Congratulations. This is your trophy. We're happy to have you in our city and in my bowling center. Thank you and good luck to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John, so much. Carol, I know you won the Queens. That had to be exciting, but you can't bowl any better than you did in the 10th frame here.
Well, I was pretty nervous as usual, but I made the adjustment on the right lane, sorry, a couple of boards, and I just let it roll and it come through.
Kind of hard to believe. Do you see the flowers shaking right now as this young lady has just collected $8,000? We're going to have to say goodbye, everybody, from the Hoosier State, the newest champion here of the Brunswick Open, Carol Gianotti from Perth, Australia. So long, everyone. The championship round finals of the $45,000 Brunswick Open have been brought to you by Brunswick. Brunswick is a proud sponsor of the Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour on ESPN. And by Bud Light. Everything else is just alike. Next week, the LPBT Tour heads to Cherry Bowl in Cherry Valley, Illinois for the championship round finals of the $50,000 Hammer Midwest Open beginning at 10 p.m. Eastern Time live on ESPN.
While most people are just getting up,